Hi and welcome to SCW here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe right now. Leave in the comments in the comment section. Please like and share the video as well. Bound for Glory 2020 is in the books, and what a good show overall. I really enjoyed it, I must admit. Certainly a lot of surprises. We had a few returns. We had some new champions. Definitely quite a few talking points coming from the show, and not to mention as well, of course, The Rock inducting Ken Shamrock into the Impact Hall of Fame. So a lot to get into to give you this review today. I'm going to start with the Countdown to Glory show. We had one match on that card, which was the Dinas defeating the Rascals in quick fashion, Des and Wentz. I was surprised with this one because it almost felt like a tornado tag team match. It didn't go very long, and the Dinas actually picked up the victory with the TTG. So it was done in quite quick fashion, which makes me wonder if there's a push on the way for the Dinas, or why are the Rascals continually losing matches? It seems to be a frequent occurrence with this team of recent. They seem to be losing more matches than winning. Certainly an interesting note. But like I say, this match was very quick. There wasn't really much to it. The rule book seemed to go out the window. In fact, Don Callis even said on commentary, I'm not sure what the referee's even doing in there. He certainly wasn't keeping the rules together. But fast-paced opener, quick kickoff, did what it needed to do, and the Dinas pick up the victory. As well, as mentioned there, Ken Shamrock was inducted into the Impact Hall of Fame. So congratulations to Ken Shamrock. He gave a speech himself, of course, thanking everybody, the fans as well, and of course his opportunities in the past in WWE with Vince McMahon, and of course some of his memorable rivals over the years, including The Rock, of course, and of course Dwayne did give the induction speech for Ken Shamrock, promising tequila would be coming his way, and of course giving The Rock the opportunity to wrestle him at a point where he was quite, you could argue, green and fairly new into his career, certainly as a heel, and Ken Shamrock had the opportunity to say no, and some superstars had said no to The Rock in the past of working with him. I'm sure a few of them were probably regretting it, or probably thankful if they got the opportunity later in The Rock's run. But Ken Shamrock gave The Rock that opportunity, so he is internally grateful. Bret Hart gave a speech as well for Ken Shamrock. Very good friends back in the day in WWE. Interesting note as well with, of course, mentioning the famous Montreal Screwjob. And Ken Shamrock was one of the few superstars to reach out and say, Bret, I'm on your side, and was even willing to quit WWE at the time. Interesting note, if we weren't aware of it before. I certainly wasn't, so I found that quite fascinating. And Mick Foley as well, giving some kind words to Ken Shamrock also. So all in all, I thought this was done very tastefully. I thought it was nice to see some big names involved in this as well. It certainly felt quite special, and I'm sure Ken Shamrock was very happy with the way the Hall of Fame induction went for him on Bound for Glory's Countdown to Glory. Going then to the main show, and we kicked off with the X Division Scramble, of course, which of course had Rohit Raju, TJP, we had Trey Miguel, Chris Bay, Willie Mack, and Jordan Grace involved in this match. Instead of a scramble, it was more of a six-pack challenge. Everyone was in the ring at the same time to one fall. But I like the story that this match was given. Rohit was the target literally of every wrestler in this match. It was built around him avoiding everyone, but Rohit coming in to break up a lot of finishing and pinning combinations. So he found his way to be quite an MVP almost within the match. I found quite a few favoured spots as well. I love the fact that TJP had literally 4 submission holds on superstars at one point in the match. I mean, literally TJP is a special athlete within himself. I mean, the guy is an incredible athlete, and I think deserves a very good push at some point down the line in Impact Wrestling. I think that he's certainly one of their more polished in-ring competitors. And I quite liked as well, Rohit Raju, every time he went to attack Jordan Grace, he always would scream out equality, which of course, I know that some people, depending on your thoughts of intergender wrestling, some people are for it, some people are against it. I just love the fact that he probably knew he's going to get some heat for this on Twitter, so he screamed out equality every single time, and I found that quite amusing. We sort of got towards the finish of the match, and 3 of the superstars were taken out of the ring. TJP hit what was like a very sort of frog splash, but he was kind of twisting in midair to land on Trey in the middle of the ring. Looked like he was going to get the pinfall, but Rohit Raju broke it up with a knee strike to the temple of TJP, went to pin Trey instead, and escaped with the X Division Championship. Sort of what I predicted going into the show, but I think that this was very well done. It certainly gives a few people, gets them out of the race for the X Division Championship. Rohit Raju maybe has 1 or 2 challenges that could be left. Maybe TJP will feel he was robbed in that particular match, so it elevates that as a future match somewhere down the line. Maybe he'll get a new challenger from somewhere elsewhere in the card as well. But either way, I thought this was a fun opener. I really enjoyed it. We went backstage then, and there was kind of This is one of the points where we had a couple of real technical issues on this pay-per-view. We went back to the wedding party backstage of all the characters, of course, that are going to be involved in that. And there was Josh Matthews on that sheet, on microphone, saying, can we fix the audio issues? It was quite clear that it was said for us there at home, which was a bit awkward. But all in all of this, it was really just to call everyone for the Call Your Shot Battle Royal that was involved in that, to get themselves ready that they will be competing in Action Next, which literally almost cleared that wedding party in the backstage area. There was another massive blunder straight away afterwards. Heath and Rhino were going to have a segment backstage, but they were cut off from the beginning of their segment and had a countdown that led them back into doing the segment again. This was quite awkward because obviously there must have been a timing issue somewhere. It's really not good that we saw this from home, I must admit, but let's try and escape that and remember that, yeah, okay, these guys are doing a segment. It is a show, but let's try and get into it. I like the fact that Heath really pumped up Rhino for this match, because Rhino seemed a bit on the downside there, that he was #1 in the gauntlet match, and Heath was like, come on, we can do it. Our contracts are on the line. You know, it just really felt like that good friends there. They supported each other through thick and thin, and they were going to go for it, and they were not going to walk away without still being employed by Impact Wrestling. Going into then the gauntlet, then Call Your Shot Battle Royal. Of course, the rules are that you have 2 superstars start the match. Then after every so many intervals, I think it was like every minute, we got a new superstar coming down till we had 20 in the ring. People will be eliminated like in a Battle Royal style or a Royal Rumble style, over the top rope and both feet hitting the floor. When you get down to the final 2 superstars, then it turns into a one-on-one match. So let's go into it then and break it down with some of the numbers and some of the interesting points before we get to the finish. Number 1, as I said, was Rhino. He lost on Impact last week, which meant that Hernandez would beat the number 20 spot in this position. Number 2 was a nice surprise. Returning to Impact, his first appearance, I believe, since 2009. Apparently he's wearing even the same ring attire, apparently, from then also. So a nice little nostalgic touch for Daivari to be making a return in this gauntlet. Crazy Steve was officially the first person eliminated by Brian Myers, who really actually eliminated a number of superstars throughout the field. I think eliminated 5 or 6 superstars. So Brian Myers had an impressive showing here. We had another surprise entrant at number 9 in Swoggle coming in, which was quite fun as well. Number 10 was Tommy Dreamer, and of course this is kind of interesting as well because he did a tribute to the Road Warrior Animal. He actually had the side of his hair shaved, also did the face paint as well for Animal, a nice little tribute. So I like that, nice little, you know, respectful touch there from Tommy Dreamer. I really quite enjoyed that. Number 15 made me pop out of my seat. I really didn't see this one coming. James Storm returning to the Impact Zone. I really hope that's full time. It was so good to see him back. He is a star. He's someone that's been at a TNA original. I think that he could, you know, he could make it in any company. There was rumours earlier this year he was set to join WWE on the Raw brand. So it's good to see that he's now come here to Impact Wrestling. I'm hoping that it's more than a one-off appearance. We had Heath at number 18, Sami Callihan at number 19, and of course, as we mentioned, Hernandez at number 20. We go down to the final 4. Rhino managed to survive the field. He was in there with James Storm, Heath, and Sami Callihan for the final 4. It looked like a 2-on-2 kind of match going on, but of course, Sami Callihan double-crossed James Storm to get the elimination on him. Went down then to the final 3. Heath looked like he picked up some sort of injury. Sami Callihan kind of easily just threw him over the top rope to the floor. Medics were checking on him. We do have an update, of course, since that event as well. It is looking like at first it was feared it would be a knee injury. It now could potentially be a groin or abdominal injury that it looks to be, but the diagnosis has not been fully given as of the time of recording here for what's happened to Heath. So fingers crossed it's nothing serious. Hopefully it's just a short-term injury. To go to the finish of the match, Heath does have an Impact contract because Rhino picked up the victory when we got down to the final 2. As I say, this was a one-on-one encounter at this point. Sami Callihan going out to get a steel chair, the referee convincing him to put it on back on the outside. As Sami Callihan turned back round, he was hit with a gore and the 1, 2, 3 count. So Rhino and of course, Heath both, of course, having the Impact contracts. I'm guessing as well that Rhino has the Call Your Shot trophy, which means he can get a championship match. And I'm guessing if Heath is not out for too long, they'll be going for the Tag Team Championship. So, good stuff. I'm really happy with this. It was very well done all round. Speaking of tag teams, the North had an interview backstage, and I must admit, I thoroughly enjoyed this. The passion from these two was absolutely off the chain. They are my favourite tag team in all of pro wrestling, for a reason. Josh Alexander saying how they have reinvented the Impact Tag Team division over the last 12 months, having that year-long reign, and they've made the Tag Team division better than ever, and they are actually betting all these new flashy toys that they can play with, like the Good Brothers, like the Motor City Machine Guns. Ethan Page absolutely obsessed with the number 94. Forget that year-long reign. That 94 sticks in his head because that's the amount of days that he has been without the championships, and the Motor City Machine Guns have had them. Thoroughly love this. The passion, as I said there, really screams volumes, and I was actually rooting for these guys all the way through. I didn't think they were going to win the belts, but we'll come to the match very, very shortly of how that one played out. We had EC3 against Moose in an undisclosed location. It was in a sort of a warehouse kind of area. There was a ring sort of area that was put in there. EC3 kind of has like these minions almost with the free EC3 hoodies on there, patting on the ring. This with Moose was bloody and violent. I do think that the music was a good touch for this as well. I think that it sort of enhanced the story that was going on. EC3 seemed to want to bring out the beast that is Moose. That seemed to be the ultimate goal here. It's what he wanted. But EC3 looked like he was going to put Moose away at one point. He was going to hit his finisher, but he seems to actually have some problems with his own narrative from the past, it feels. He got flashbacks to the old EC3 and wasn't able to connect his finisher, which he was going to do onto the TNA Championship. Moose manages to come back into this, hits lots of bloody shots onto EC3, screaming, "Is this what you want? You know, you want this monster brought out of me?" And at one point, EC3 back on his knees, almost laughing to the point of it, and like, "This is what you want? Yeah, it's what I want." Moose just takes the championship and drills it into EC3, completely knocking him out cold. Moose thanking EC3, leaving the ring area, and then it seemed that all these sort of, if you want, minions of sorts for EC3, picking him and carrying him out of the ring area. So I suppose kind of more of an angle than a match, but if you wanted to pick a victor in this, it would be Moose that's come out the victor, and it looks like Moose will be carrying on with the TNA Championship. It looks like hopefully the goal for this going forward, though, is for Moose to be, you know, a superstar that doesn't need that prop of a championship and will go for the championship. And I really hope that that's the direction they go from here, because a serious Moose is something we do need in Impact Wrestling. He has got the tools to be the face of the company, and it seems that every time he's got near and around the area, something has pulled the momentum away and he's gone back to the upper mid-card section. So I do hope this is the start of really pushing for something, especially when it's at the expense of EC3, who I thought would be coming back in as the top guy in Impact. And surely, looking at this, it feels that EC3 is going to have some work to do to actually get back to that spot. So I'm looking forward to seeing where that narrative for EC3 goes next. So although I'm disappointed by the result, as I picked EC3 in the predictions, I think there's some leg room for this, where this could prove to be very good in the long run, but it's more of a see where it goes kind of feeling at the end of this match. Of course, the Hall of Famer Ken Shamrock was with Sami Callihan, who's still selling his ribs after the gore earlier, taking on Eddie Edwards. Quite a slow-paced match, this one. I must admit, my least favourite match of the show. This one kind of dragged a little bit for me, if I was brutally honest. But going to the finish, Eddie Edwards hitting the Boston Knee Party. Sami Callihan with his phone, controlling the lights, hitting the button, comes back into the ring with the lights back on with a baseball bat. What he didn't realise was that Eddie Edwards was carrying Kenny at the same time, the kendo stick. The kendo stick takes out Sami Callihan, but of course as he turns back round, Ken Shamrock fully recovered, hits the belly-to-belly, ankle lock, and of course Ken Shamrock picks up the victory at Bound for Glory. Next was the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Championship match. Of course, we had the champions, the Motor City Machine Guns, against the Good Brothers, Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, and of course my favourite tag team, the North. And let me just say, what a master plan by the North. This was done to perfection. All three teams, apart from the champions, had come to the ring as the Motor City Machine Guns were coming down to the ring and attacked straight away from the North, hitting them down the rampway, and Alex Shelley being taken out of the match with a double underarm hook pile driver on the staging, on that rampway, and Shelley wasn't moving, to the point that Sabin had a big decision to make. Do I defend these championships on my own, or do I look after my tag team partner? Sabin's so conflicted. In the end, thinks, well, no, I've got to do my thing for the team. I've got to keep these championships in our camp. I'm going to fight alone. So this was 7 men in the end. It was almost like a handicap match for Sabin. He took a lot of beating throughout the match as well, but it went sort of down to the final sort of flurry with all these teams getting involved in there. Absolute chaos. Referee could not control. It looked like that Ace Austin and Madman Fulton were going to pick up the victory, but of course they were taken out by the North. Carl Anderson was still sitting at this point on the turnbuckle. He came off. He got a belt shot to his face for his troubles by Ethan Page. This led to Josh Alexander pinning him for the 1-2-3 Saban, just too late to make the save, and we've got new tag team champions. And what I like from this is that it feels that they cheated to win all throughout the match in a sort of dirty heel kind of way. They took out the machine guns, so there's revenge needed there. They cheated to beat the Good Brothers. And you look at it with Ace and Fulton, they took them out towards the end of the match as well. So it was quite a dominant performance from the North here, and I really enjoyed this because, as I say, the North are my favourite tag team. I didn't think they were going to win this. This makes me believe, really, because there was a lot of rumours going around a little while ago about the North, and particularly Ethan Page, that could have been interest from other companies. The contract apparently is not so far away. Well, this makes me believe that they're going nowhere. This makes me think they're staying at home where I want them to stay in Impact Wrestling, because these guys, they've carried that division for so long, and they really, the spotlight is on them, and the longer they stay in Impact, the higher their stock rises. And I think there's some dream matches out there with other tag teams, but as far as I'm concerned, they can wait. Literally, these guys here are absolutely stealing the show in the tag team division, and I think there's some dream matches here that we could see with them as champions. Like I say, the Good Brothers could be somewhere down the line. We could see another match with the Machine Guns. Certainly is locked there that could be coming up in the near future. So I'm excited to see where this goes going forward. The surprises continue next because we had Deonna Purrazzo going to be defending her Impact Knockouts Championship, supposedly against Kylie Ray. We got the video package, but no Kylie Ray. She never turned up to the ring. It was almost like a no-show, and it was sold as a no-show by the team that was there. According to Brian Alvarez of F4W Online, apparently that she was pulled from the event for an unknown injury, not considered to be too serious, but she was pulled from the event altogether, so that's why she didn't show up on the night. So I'm quite pleased, because when it was sold as a no-show as well, I was a bit concerned, thinking, well, what's actually gone on here? But of course, Deonna Purrazzo there, she's quite cocky, said to herself, I can defend the belt against someone else, any man, woman that's alive. Well, she didn't get someone that was alive, she got someone that was from the undead realm. The return of Su Yung came out here, and I must admit, this feels like a money match. I was a little bit disappointed that this was actually just a given replacement match, because there was no real serious build for it. But if you look at the fact of what was done for the build for the Kylie Ray match, with Susie, the arm being broken, there was some needed revenge here for Su Yung, and I must admit, the Su Yung character really motivates me. I think that it's a very good creative character, and I wanted her to remain strong going into this. I would have been a bit disappointed had she lost the match, but on the flip side, Deonna Purrazzo's reign was just getting started as champion. These two went backwards and forwards, it went around the ring, a clash of styles for sure, definitely with that sort of style of Su Yung, almost, you know, to the wall, just chaos, you know, going with a flip off the side of the ring to Deonna Purrazzo on a steel chair. Of course, Deonna is one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, definitely the best technical female wrestler in the world, in my opinion. The ref was knocked out with a pump kick as we go towards the finish, and Kimberly came in to attack Su Yung with a steel chair on a couple of occasions. Su Yung was able to overcome this with Kimberly, and it went back down to the champion and the challenger. Then it was almost like a submission off between these two. Of course, Su Yung trying to get the mandible claw, and of course with that disgusting looking glove there. Deonna Purrazzo was able to counter this and get into the Fujiwara armbar. She was going to use her version of the armbar, get both arms in there, but she had to break the hold because her the left hand of Su Yung was put in for the mandible claw on Deonna Purrazzo. These two were then to actually go on to the normal finish, and it was like a package powerbomb almost that was used there for Su Yung to actually pick up the victory and brand new Knockouts champion. I must admit, as I said there, I think for Deonna, this is a bit of a shame, because I really felt like she was going to be booked as one of the best Impact champions of all time. I really thought she was going to have a long, lengthy reign. She's only had the belt since Slammiversary, so in that way, I was a bit disappointed. But I do think there's legroom for a rematch here, because Deonna was completely unprepared, and it does protect her in that fashion. So maybe she wins the belt back somewhere down the line. Maybe they might do a little angle where, I mean, Kylie Ray was missing because of Su Yung. Maybe Su Yung really, deep down, is going to be a heel champion. And the fact is that she took out Kylie Ray because Kylie Ray couldn't protect Susie when Susie's arm was broken. So there's lots of different angles they could go down with this. So it's going to be interesting to see where the storytelling goes forward. I'm certainly most invested in this storyline coming out of Bound for Glory, but what I would say is that it almost felt like that this match was two strong people, and it would probably have hurt either to lose. Sadly, it's Deonna, the one that lost here, but I'm very happy to see Su Yung return, because I was okay with the Susie character, but at the same time, I do feel to myself that the Su Yung character is much better better. And as Knockouts champion, I think that she could be a dominant Knockouts champion going forward. It's good to see the Su Yung that we had back from a couple of years ago. We had an announcement for Hard to Kill for 2021. The first pay-per-view that will be for Impact Wrestling will be on January 16th. And the return of the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. I'm so happy these are coming back. I've been calling for it for a while now, and it feels like a lot of fans have been. Even commentary have been teasing it over time, and it seems that now it will be making a return. Impact have a number of teams as well, so I think that they can make this work here. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I mean, we'll be seeing perhaps the Nieva and Havoc as the first champions. Maybe we could see Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz. We could even get the mismatch of Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. There's certainly lots of different potentials and lots of different teams that could walk away as the champions. Last but not least, let's talk about the Impact Championship, shall we? We had, of course, Eric Young defending against Rich Swann. Eric Young, best described by commentary as a shark. If he sees a spot where he can go for, he targets that spot, and he's sort of very calculating in the way he does things. The world-class maniac really is perfect to what his gimmick is. Rich Swann, of course, he was going to be going to try and protect that leg, that ankle at the start of the match, but eventually missed a bump and sort of bumped his head shoulder on the hardest part of the ring, on the ring apron to the outside. Eric Young saw this as a target and targeted that area instead. It was a very brutal affair. It almost felt like the Rich Swann was being tortured through this match, to be fair, and Eric Young just wanting him to give up, and everything was on Rich Swann. Eric Young tried to make this the easy way previously for Rich Swann. He was determined that Rich Swann was going to be retired from this match. So from the storytelling perspective, I really enjoyed this match. Looking towards the finish there, I mean, Rich Swann did manage to come back in. This led to Eric Young then going for the leg, of course, because he figured what he was doing before was not working. Looked really good from that perspective as well. It really felt that Eric Young was going to retain the belt at this point, but Rich Swann did manage to get back into it, hit a Phoenix Splash, and got the 1, 2, 3. The happy ending at Bound for Glory. Nice to see Rich Swann win the championship. Nice to see the locker room there. You do want the end of this storyline to have that feel-good moment, so I totally get that. But again, the same as the Knockouts Championship, I was disappointed to see the belt change so quickly, because Eric Young, for me, has been doing an amazing job since coming back to Impact Wrestling. He's been champion only for a number of weeks. So for me personally, I do feel I am slightly disappointed that we have a title change here once again, because I do feel that Eric Young's championship run had more mileage in it, and perhaps we could have seen a rematch somewhere down the line, maybe 2-3 months from now, and then we could have got that payoff. But nonetheless, I do think that this was a fantastic match, probably the match of the night if I had to give that contender to anybody for Eric Young and Rich Swann, and I'm sure there probably will be a rematch somewhere down the line. I know Impact Plus is going to be having monthly specials as well, so I don't expect this feud to necessarily be finished. And plus, we mentioned earlier on about Moose's potential. Moose is a heel. Maybe we're looking for Hard to Kill Rich Swann versus Moose, which I'm sure I think a lot of Impact fans would be invested in that idea of a main event. So all in all, that is Bound for Glory 2020. I think it was a good show overall. I wouldn't say great, but I would say good. Certainly not hit the heights of like 2 years ago, Impact Wrestling, when they're perhaps really at their strongest point at that time, but I would say that Impact Wrestling is putting out a good, consistent product at the minute. Seems to be occasionally, same with Slammiversary, occasional technical issues. They need to probably look at this when it comes to some of their specials. That is something that is hampering these specials a little bit. I know Victory Road had a few technical problems also. So I want them to improve that going forward. But as for in-ring, I think that the stuff they're doing is really good. I just want title runs to mean something a bit more in Impact. I think that they are being a bit too much hot potatoed in the company right now. But overall, to give a mark out of 10, I would give this show a solid 7. I think that there were some fun surprises. We had some returns. As I was saying, new champions, they do mean something having these championship changes, and they certainly are big talking points. And like I say, the North are tag team champions in Impact once again, which I am a massive fan of. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. I'm off to record the Q&A for you now, so that will be coming up on the channel hopefully later on today. Of course, if you want to check out This Week in Wrestling as well, that is available on the channel. That was posted yesterday. There is some Impact news on there for that as well. And that's all from me here on SCW. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. I really appreciate if you share with a friend, and make sure to hit the bell for notifications. And there's a personalized bit and an all button. Hit the all button, then you know when every video is released, when it's released. But that's all from me anyway. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great day. This has been the review for Bound for Glory 2020. Take care.